So how do you handle the transition from a Biden campaign to a Harris campaign? Let's talk about it with my guest tonight. He's the editor-in-chief of Washington Monthly and a writer, a speechwriter in the Clinton White House. It is Paul Glastris here on the Final Five. Paul, welcome back. Good to see you again.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, this is unprecedented, and we've said many times many of us long to live in precedented times. But as we're looking at about 100 days until the election, how does the campaign handle this proverbial passing of the torch?
Well, interestingly, my experience in the Clinton White House included this kind of a transition. In the summer of 2000, and my boss and I, Terry Edmonds and I, co-wrote the president's speech that he would give at the Democratic Convention in 2000 in LA at the Staples Center. And that was similarly like with President Biden. President Clinton was ending his administration and handing off to his vice president. So it's unprecedented in that President Biden is leaving after one term, but it's happened before.
And of course, it was a little bit of a strange transition insofar as it was well documented. Al Gore was there. There was a certain tension with the Clinton White House after the Monica Lewinsky scandal, and that was something Republicans were really seizing upon as sort of this moral transition going to George W. Bush in their eyes. So how does a Joe Biden, once he gets back on the campaign trail, he said today he would campaign for Vice President Harris. Would you imagine it to be an enthusiastic backing? Would it be a reluctant backing?
I don't know what the man feels in his heart. My sense is he's very grateful that he has someone of her caliber to take over. But if he has any love of his own legacy and for the country, he'll certainly act as if she is, his favorite person in the world and be very enthusiastic. And, I think he will. And you're right about the tensions that existed between the Gore camp and the Clinton camp. And we were all, colleagues and associates and, very agreeable on a personal level. But the big mistake that Al Gore made, in my opinion, in that campaign is distancing himself from the Clinton-Gore record out of fear that some part of the scandal would stick to him. And, so he did not run on the record of the Clinton-Gore 2 years. I think Kamala won't make that mistake. She shouldn't make that mistake, and very likely will, have do better because, she is running on a strong record.
Just to get your take, as somebody who's, again, been down this road before, I have heard from a lot of people over the last 24 hours or so, a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans, and Republicans have, I've heard this line time and time again, that the Democrats, they believe, have lost the mantle of saying they're the party of democracy because they believe that Joe Biden was unceremoniously pushed aside in this effort here. Do those sort of allegations, would there be a concern with the campaign that might be the image it gives off?
Well, I suppose there might be some people who would have voted for Joe Biden who think that he was pressured to drop out, and they feel bad about that. They're angry about that, and they therefore will vote for Trump or not vote. But I think the numbers of such voters are probably a tiny fraction of the number of voters who will be excited that a younger candidate is taking the mantle of Biden. And after all, he was she is his vice president and, is on the ticket. And we heard today that she is basically keeping the same campaign leaders, the same structure. This is by all, in most ways, a continuation of the Biden campaign and the Biden administration.
Paul Glastris from Washington Monthly joining us on the Final Five. Paul, always good to see you.
Thank you, Jim.
And the Final Five is back after this.